Hello, my name is Richard Smith and I'm the Continuous Improvement Manager here at Berea College. On behalf of the Berea College family, I would like to invite you on a tour of our Lean initiative. Continuous improvement supports our mission to provide an educational opportunity for students with great promise and limited resources. It also supports one of our great commitments, sustainable living. Every dollar of waste that we save can be used to maintain the quality of the education and provide additional resources to help deserving students. During the first year of our continuous improvement journey, we had over $250,000 in both hard and soft savings. 66 students and 50 faculty and staff were involved in dozens of Lean projects. Now, I will turn it over to our wonderful family of participants that have made these achievements possible.
My name is Derek Singleton. I'm the Vice President of Operations and Sustainability for Berea College. About 2 or 2.5 years ago, we started our journey towards continuous improvement here with the college, largely because of the background that I brought to the campus from the corporate sector. Continuous improvement has been utilized there for many, many years. People tend to think of continuous improvement as something that's more related to manufacturing. It's really not the case. Continuous improvement, Lean, Six Sigma, all these various tools have been utilized now in healthcare. It's very effective in that segment and can be applied anywhere the government is using them. Higher ed has been slow to adopt use of these tools. But what we've found here is as we've introduced them, our campus has been very open to utilizing these techniques, and the way we've communicated it is we want to find your pain and make your pain go away. So processes that you as a customer have difficulties or frustrations with, things that make you bang your head against the wall at night because of your job, things that take too long, cause too much aggravation. We want to look at those processes, map them out, lean them out, and take out the non-value added steps, which then makes the work process flow more efficiently. It brings more worker engagement or employee engagement, satisfies customers. So it really just, and at the same time, makes us more efficient, which can, in some cases, save money as well for the institution, which we can then plow back into how we serve our students. So we launched the program again about 2.5 years ago. We've had a number of folks be specifically trained in Lean techniques through a program that we've worked up in partnership with the University of Tennessee. We've actually implemented it into coursework, a couple different courses where students have actually taken on group projects and individual projects which have been implemented to save money, to save time, and again to make customer processes more enjoyable for those who are receiving the services and less frustrating for those delivering the services.
My name is David McCarg. I'm the Director of Dining Services at Berea College. I've been here for almost 10 years, and I'm actually a graduate from Berea. I graduated in 1990, so it's very important how we do things here at Berea Dining to me. Last year, we were in the need for a new freezer to help store some of the local foods that we were purchasing. We've increased that every year since 2005, and the space that we had was full. We needed to get a freezer downstairs. We didn't have the room, so we took upon ourselves to do the 5S project down there. I attended the training in Knoxville, and then a couple weeks after that, we began the process. It took us about 3 or 4 days to do that, and it freed up enough space for not only that freezer, but we've got space for the next several years if we need to do more expansion for storage space and things of that sort for our local foods. So it was a great process and something that we really needed, and it worked out great. Before the 5S project, they would go downstairs and they would spend 4, 5, 6 minutes looking around for things that they were asked to get. And that, of course, was increased every year because we have new students that come in. What the 5S project did is not only eliminated a lot of extra stuff that was in there that we no longer needed, but we were able to organize it in a way and label things in a way that students now go downstairs to get something. It takes them less than 30 seconds to a minute to find it, locate it, and bring it back upstairs if they need it. We do a process in the kitchen which goes along with the Lean process, but it's related to food waste, and it's called the Lean Path tool. Basically, what it does is our employees now weigh all of the pre-consumer waste, and they use that information to figure out ways that they can cut back on the waste that happens before the customer sees the food. And what this has allowed us to do is we've probably saved in the first year alone over $20,000 in food cost, which has allowed us to increase our local foods purchasing, but at the same time not increase the students' cost for the meal plan as much as would be warranted if we did not have that cost savings. So that's been a huge process too. And what the main thing that it does is it engages our employees and makes them understand why we want to always measure that and keep that down to a minimum, and how that can save our client or Berea College money, which in turn, as you go down the pike, saves the students money on their meal plan.
Hi, my name is Heather Schill, and I'm the Assistant Director at the Center for Excellence in Learning Through Service, or CELTS, at Berea College. When we went to, several of the members of the CELTS staff went to a training about continuous improvement last year, and when we came back from that, I was really inspired to try to think of something different in order to keep things organized, both for me and for my students. And so I started implementing the activity board as a way to keep track of everything that we were doing, but also so other folks would be able to know what exactly it is that's going on. And so I have an activity board that I use very regularly, and then several of our student teams have also initiated using the activity board, really as a communication tool for them to be able to communicate with each other, but also as a way for me to know at any given time what's going on with their particular teams.
I'm Diane Zekine, and I am the Central Plant HVAC team leader in the Facilities Management Department here at Berea College. We've used the continuous improvement process, namely the 5S, as a way to organize, especially areas where we store materials, parts, tools. We completed one project last spring where we did the back area where we store a number of spare parts. Berea College has a number of unique HVAC systems on campus, and so we need to maintain a level of spare parts. Some of the parts are becoming harder to obtain, so even though yes, it does drive your inventory up a little bit, we do need to maintain them because obviously we want to repair the HVAC as quickly as possible and do not want to wait weeks sometimes in order to get spare parts. Our back room was not very well organized. They moved some shelving and parts from the old heat plant that used to be across the street when we constructed the new central plant here back in 2006, and just weren't very organized. So when the technicians needed a spare part, they usually just picked things out of the bins and nope, that's not it, threw it back in and went on to the next bin to look for what they were looking for. Coming from a manufacturing background, we used 5S quite a bit in our operations just to organize things better. So this was a good fit for the project to where, the technicians and the students both helped to organize our back storage area. So now the shelves are labeled, like materials are put together, everything has been cleaned up to match type of thing, even though it's just a storage room. And now the technicians can obtain their parts much quicker or let me know when I need to order something to have on the shelf.
My name is Tim Glotzbach. I'm the director of the Berea College Crafts program. Well, I can say that continuous improvement has made a substantial change in the way we both think about what we do in the crafts program as well as how we do it, of course. When Richard Smith was hired here at Berea College as the continuous improvement manager, Rich and I got a chance to meet, and interestingly enough, he was talking to me about principles that I had read about when I started here, and I started reading books about it, and I tried to apply those principles, and we did apply some of them in, I won't say always the correct way according to Lean or according to the theory of constraints process, But we were on the right track with our thinking and what we were trying to do. Richard, when he brought the lean process to us, gave us the opportunity to really look at the science behind the lean process, the practice of the lean process, and how to effectively educate other people in making sure that process could both be undertaken in the studios, but also how it could be sustained, because the process is wonderful, but if you can't sustain or don't sustain the process, it's just another practice. So what his work with us did was really allowed us to implement it and to make sure that those implementations were ongoing and continual.
I'm Ronnie Van Hook II. I am the storeroom manager and also transportation manager for Berea College facilities. We tried to redo the culture here because before I got here, how purchasing was done in the storeroom was anybody could go out at any time and get, parts. And so what that caused was what we found, we would average about 200 invoices per month. That could be anywhere from a quarter all the way up to, a lot of money. But what we tried to do was we looked at that and said, okay, is it worthwhile to send an invoice through for a quarter or for even less? And really it didn't. So we tried to figure out what can we do to sort of, coordinate this a little better. And so what we decided to do was my group, the storeroom, is now responsible for most of the purchases that we make for the storeroom and for facilities as far as small parts and whatnot. And what that did was we went from, when we started this process, we went from 200 invoices per month with local vendors, and there are 5 of those, 5 local area vendors. And we got that down to 8 transactions per month instead of 200. So it was really a real big cost savings as far as soft savings on that, because there's a cost, unfortunately, for doing an invoice. And typically industry standard, it's about $75-80 per invoice. So if you look at that, if you say I went from 200 invoices now down to 8, that's a big chunk of cash.
I'm Scott Steele, Dean of Curriculum and Student Learning. Continuous improvement is a process of trying to determine essentially unnecessary steps, and I went down to Knoxville, Tennessee for a course in this, and then brought it back to work with my team on a particular process, the leave of absence process. The leave of absence process is an opportunity for students, when needed, to step away from college for a term, but also to be eligible to return without having to go through the readmission process. There are only a small set of leave of absence applications each term, but each one was taking a great deal of time because we didn't have the process streamlined. So when we got back and we did a process map to find out what all steps were involved and who all was involved in processing leave of absence students, we found a couple areas where we thought we could lean out the process and simplify the process. Most significantly is we started to not take leave of absence students all the way out of the systems, which we had been doing in the past, and we've considered them as, the assumption is that they are returning students, so we didn't need to take them all the way out of the systems, the banner systems, the email systems, those sorts of things, so they sort of remain more inside the system, so that when it's time to register, for example, for the upcoming term, they're already in the system and they're already ready to be able to register because we're assuming that they're coming back.
I'm Nate Daniels, the interim bookstore director at the Berea College store. Inventory used to take us about a week, and we've trimmed it down to a lot less time than that, couple of days to do most of that. And we're also introducing cycle counting, which gives us a better sense of what our inventory is on a rotating basis. Benefits, we've certainly a better handle on what our inventory is, knowing where it is, things like that. It used to be a very uncertain process of what items were in what department, things like that. Cycle counting helps us identify what things are in each department. We've actually cleaned up all of our departments as well. Definitely time was a big benefit in the clarity of things. Having the accurate inventory, knowing what we have on hand and knowing that that's actually a correct number helps for predicting what we need to order, because typically, especially with clothing, we have 4 to 6 weeks lead time that we need to have. So knowing what we sell through, what our turns are, things like that, that helps predicting out that 6, even 8 weeks. I've also introduced an activity board for students, keep track of their schedules, keep track of what they need to do on an ongoing basis. When students know what they need to come in and do, we can actually hit the ground running, and they walk in the door, I hand them a list of what's sold during a previous period, and they know where to pull that from and how to restock. Basically, it's just to replenish what was sold, and that helps keep the floor look full. We don't miss things down in the basement. We had a period there where things were in the basement but not on the sales floor, so that helps out a lot.